Now, what are the best game modes for Bo, in your opinion, in Brawl Stars? And what about Super, like with the mines? When you're playing Gem Grab, are you intentionally trying to place them on like the gem mine, or are you trying to like corner off certain channels of the map, or what's your kind of thoughts with the Super? How would you rate Bo's star power compared to some of the other brawlers? Is that one that people should be trying to kind of aim of getting first? So where do you think Bo sits in like the meta right now, in your opinion? What tips would you give to someone who has not got Bo's star power like? So with that in mind, what would you say are Bo's best strengths and weaknesses then? Man, you had a lot going against you, didn't you? What is up, guys? My name is Ark, and my brawls are quite simply the best of them all. Besides, for my very special guest for today, we have got OG in the house. How you doing, man?
Hey, Eric, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me again.
Alright, it's great to have you back, man. It was so good last time having you on the channel, man. And congrats, first and foremost, for getting a 1,000 Bo, man. You must be absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was a big achievement for me.
It's insane, bro. Like, and I hear so much in the community that Bo is like not a viable brawler to use and is like kind of relatively weak in the meta, and he needs some love, to be fair. But like, I praise you a lot for having the guts to go ahead and do the challenge, man. Because you put it on Twitter, right? That was the thing.
Yeah, so originally I did like a poll on Twitter between 4 brawlers that I've always loved using. I didn't want to use someone that was like too overpowered because I wanted to challenge. Bo ended up being the winner by like 6 or 7%, so I just had to give the people what they wanted.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's a great example to set, and like especially as a lot of the new players that have come to the game since Global, they're going to be probably getting close or having already unlocked Bo. So I think it's a great time to run over the brawler itself. And as you're so skilled and knowledgeable with Bo, I figured let's kind of do like a rundown of what are the best game modes for Bo, in your opinion, in Brawl Stars to push trophies at any kind of level, in your opinion.
Yeah, definitely. So his most popular mode by far would be Showdown and Duo Showdown. And that's just primarily because a lot of the Showdown maps are bushy.
Yeah.
So the vision, like his star power definitely helps out a lot. Without his star power, he's definitely like close to the bottom of the table, I'd say, on any tier list in any mode. But the star power is really effective on those like Showdown maps.
Okay, yeah, so Showdown's a big map for you. Did you push much in Showdown, or just in general, he's just good to push there?
I didn't play a single game in Showdown.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. Where did you push Bo? What was the best maps that you kind of pushed Bo in?
So I've always used him as a gem carrier. The maps where I pushed him the most were Deathcap Cave, Stone Fort, Deep Siege, Chill Cave, and Flooded Mine.
To be honest, I don't really play Bo in gem grab myself, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about like understanding his mechanics. I think like once you get them down, you can kind of compete with like most of the mids in most scenarios. It's just getting like used to the brawler.
Yeah, and like Bo's got such an interesting mechanic in that sense that you can kind of manipulate the shots and staggering them, and that's something that a lot of people struggle with, but you've obviously got down to a really fine art. Like, was there any kind of like process that you did, or any kind of thing that you did to practice that, or was it just kind of like trial and error and kind of just repeating and experience with playing more and more?
He's always been like one of my favorite brawlers since the start of the game. So a lot of it's just practice, trial and error, figuring out like what to do in like what scenarios and whatnot. But I wish there was like a simple trick I could give you, but it just comes down to practice.
What about Super, like with the mines? When you're playing Gem Grab, are you intentionally trying to place them on like the gem mine, or are you trying to like corner off certain channels of the map, or what's your kind of thoughts with the Super?
Yeah, I love his mines. They're like one of my favorite supers in the game. So for the mines, there's basically like 2 strategies that you can do that I would typically do. You can play them really aggressively and just try like gaining mid position, or depending on the map, obviously, like something like Stone Fort, you can do this really well on. You can place them on like a lane, and that way your lane can pinch in and like help you in the middle. Yeah, it's just area denial, basically.
What about bounty? I mean, obviously we know Snake Prairie, like especially with Bo's star power, and as you say, like the star power is a big deal for you, right? Like having that star power is a big factor in being able to push at a higher level. Yeah,
it gives your teammates a huge advantage in the bush, so it's definitely like one of Bo's best assets. For bounty though, he's okay on a few maps. There's definitely like better options for the most part. Besides Snake Prairie, he's essential on, because It's literally just grass.
Yeah, I think like Outlaw Camp is, I believe that's the map with the grass in the center, probably is a viable option, I guess.
Yeah, he is.
What about like Heist? You know, I mean, I didn't see much of Bo on Heist, but I mean, maybe Kaboom Canyon. I don't know whether you tried that with Bo at all.
I tried it. I definitely tried it. It didn't work out very well like my teammates said it would. Yeah. But I think I went 0-3 on Kaboom Canyon or something with Bobby. Yeah. So I tried it. I wouldn't recommend it.
I mean, is there any other like any other game modes that you would say Bo is worth doing? Are there any Brawl maps that he actually was quite good in for you, or is that pretty much just the gist of like stick to primarily Showdown and Gem Grab?
So I pushed him from 820 cups to 910 on Pinhole Punt.
Nice.
Yeah, it worked like surprisingly well. You can't play him with a Mortis though because it's just like not enough damage. His mines can actually be like really tricky just for like blocking off the goal. They can't like walk in and you get like a free long shot. I mean, I wouldn't use them like in the competitive scene, but you can kind of get away with him there.
So with that in mind, what would you say are Bo's best strengths and weaknesses then?
Strength would definitely be star power, super. His weakness is Leon.
I was gonna say actually, because Leon's really good at cycling his super using Bo.
Yeah, because Bo's like he's tanky, so he can like take like 2 Leon hits, I think, but he just doesn't like output enough damage, and the chances of like hitting a Leon are really slim with Bo shots. Yeah. Most of the time you'll just hit him for like a 588, which is 1 clip. So yeah, he's not the best against Leon, which was kind of tough in this meta.
Yeah, you couldn't have picked like a worse time, really, could you?
Yeah, Pam counters him pretty well if she gets like situated with the turret set up, because he doesn't do enough damage output unless you're landing like consistent like 3 shots per like, well, 3 arrows per shot.
Yeah, and as we know, Pam is like a really strong brawler in the meta right now as well. Man, you had a lot going against you, didn't you?
Yeah, luckily I had good teammates though, so I helped out a lot.
And one thing I wanted to ask, actually, I'm just curious, like, what tips would you give to someone who has not got Bo's star power? Like, is there anything that you can do as Bo, or anything that you can practice doing as Bo to try to make up for that disadvantage almost?
I just work on the shooting mechanics. One of the reasons why I like him in Gem Grab is because you can help out your teammates on lanes, because he does have like pretty significant range for a mid brawler. He's not that great at killing people, but like at keeping them low HP, he definitely is like one of the better mids.
Good at keeping the pressure on your opponents then in that case, yeah?
Yeah, just like forcing them not to regen. The mines are also like really useful at keeping them back.
So where do you think Bo sits in like the meta right now in your opinion? Like, is he in the middle? Is he kind of like relatively strong if you know how to play him? Like, what's your thoughts on where he lies right now?
I think any brawler can be good depending if you know how to play them, but just for the general meta, there's definitely a lot better options. So I'd put him probably to bottom 5.
Wow, harsh, yeah, but fair to be honest.
I love Bo, don't get me wrong. I just think there's a lot better options for the most part.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree, for sure. I absolutely agree. I hope he receives some love soon, actually. It'd be nice, because he is quite a kind of high skill cap if you kind of like really want to hit your shots to kind of make up a little bit for that fact. It'd be nice to get him like a little bit of a damage buff or something. And like in terms of how easy he was to push, in your opinion, like where would you rate him on a scale of like 1 to 10? Like, is he relatively easy? I would imagine he's probably not.
Yeah, the main thing was just getting out comped or counter comped, because Bo's not a brawler that, I mean, you can make like really good plays with him, but you can't flat out carry a team with Bo unless they're just like running over your mines consistently. Out of 10, I'd give him like a 7 out of 10, just because I did have really good teammates throughout the whole like pushing experience for the most part. So they definitely like lessened the load, but it was still a challenge.
Right, well, let's crack on then, bro. Let's go straight in. What is your number 5 best tip for pushing Bo?
So he is a tankier mid. For number 5, I have understand his HP and what he's capable of taking. Just because with the higher HP, there are certain situations where you can be a little more aggressive. If you need to go for that 10th gem, you could like do it. Whereas like with Penny, you'd have to be more passive or something like that. So just understanding his HP and what he's capable of taking damage-wise.
So being a gem carry, you've got to make sure that you're not going to be going down for your team to keep alive, right?
Definitely.
What kind of tips can you give to anyone to try to focus more on those things and I guess not being so aggressive and that kind of thing?
Well, it's just like practicing the game. Once you get enough practice and you can understand what brawlers do like X amount of damage, and what Bo's capable of taking.
Is there anyone like in gem grab, with that in mind, that you kind of like really like to go up against as a gem carrier, like when you're trying to like kind of battle out the gems and your opposing teammates are like focused on their brawlers, like when you're one-on-one in that battle for the gems, is there someone that you really like to be pitched up against?
Yeah, my favorite matchup would be a Penny as a opposing mid. Just primarily because she is weaker than the other mids, and your mines can like decently counter her turret because she has to play it behind a wall in like 99% of the cases, and your mines you can like place them on top of the wall and just like take out the best turret locations.
Cool, bro. That's great. What about number 4? What's your number 4 tip for pushing Bo?
So you have to use his range to your advantage. He does have one of the longer ranges of the mid, and like I said earlier in the video, part of being mid in gem grab is helping out your teammates win their lanes. So if you can just like hit their opponents once while they're regenning, it's a huge advantage. Also just like chipping down the opposing mid, like forcing them back to regen, and then you take control of the map.
Sounds like that's a common theme with Bo then for you, like it's just kind of like continuously putting that pressure on and not worrying too much that you're not getting like a massive amount of damage with each hit, but just continuously getting that hit to stop that regen process.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times you won't get a quick kill with Bo, but it's just like a slow process of slowly pushing them back. If they want to like be aggro, get like the first 2 gems, that's fine, let them. And then you just kind of like chip them back, place your mines up top when you get them, and just hold that like mid.
It's interesting, like, so having a lot of patience is quite key with Bo then, and not being overly aggressive, just using that range and kind of keeping back, but gradually in the long term you'll be able to push them all back.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. That's another great tip, man. What about number 3? What's your number 3 best tip for pushing Bo?
So for number 3, I figure out the best mine placements on each map. I look at mine placements as 2 kinds. Like I said earlier, there's the aggro mines, which I'd use probably like 60-70% of the time, just for the mid control, like I stated previously. And then there's the mines that you place on the side for area denial, or if you're just trying to trick someone, like nobody's been get down that lane for a little bit, and like all the pressure's on one side, so it's natural they might want to switch it up. You could just like place mines there ahead of time and just like hope someone stumbles on them. Yeah, so his super is definitely like my favorite part about Bo. So you just got to be tricky with your mine placements.
Yeah, and like, is there like a particular time when you try to like focus on placing those mines? Because ideally you don't want the other team to see when you're placing them, right? So are you kind of like always consciously aware of like who's like respawning in and that kind of stuff, or is it like just a case of like you want to get them out as quickly as possible so you can kind of like cycle your super back up again?
Yeah, so sometimes I'd actually like them to see my mines just because they know not to go there. It scares them off, and then I can like force them into a corner. And like, let's say I have like the Leon on my team like going over there invisible, then like it works out well. But you do want to be sneaky with your mines. So if you kill a lane and then you know he's going to regen and like go back there, just like place him down while he's out, and hopefully they're not on the call.
That's a really solid tip, and one that I actually hadn't even thought about. Like sometimes maybe you actually want them to know and then encourage them towards a different part of the map on purpose.
Yeah, it's just an intimidation thing with the mines.
Great advice, bro. Great advice. What about tip number 2? What's your number 2 tip for pushing Bo?
So for number 2, I didn't follow it very much, but his best mode is definitely Showdown/Duo Showdown, just due to the map. So try to play that as much as you can if you're into that sort of game mode. Find a partner, go into Duo Showdown. It's really, really, really good to have a Boa star power on like, I'd say half the Showdown maps right now, just because they're so bushy and the vision's just so crucial.
What about like, just kind of coming back to something like auto aim? I just thought in my head, like, is there any time in like Showdown that you'd ever use auto aim, or any of the other game modes for that fact?
Definitely not at range. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
But if you do it at range, try spreading your shots instead of lining them all up. You'd have a better chance of hitting it. But if someone's like right in your face, like go ahead and spam that auto aim button.
Yeah, gotcha. And what about like playing in Showdown when you don't have your star power? Would you say avoid it entirely? Is your kind of like your choice of Showdown being like the primary game mode based solely on that star power?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I thought it might be the case. I thought I'd double check because you never know, right? You never know.
Star power is like so essential for Bo. So I mean, maybe Duo Showdown, you could get away with it on some maps, but you got to get that star power for Showdown.
Awesome, bro. That is sick. What about the number 1 best tip for pushing Bo?
Yeah, so for number one, I wish I had something cooler, but it has to do with the star power again. You just got to play them on maps that you have your star power. I know the free-to-play players are probably like hating me right now, but it's just such a great star power. So you got to abuse it whenever you can.
Would you suggest it's one that's a priority? I mean, how would you rate Bo's star power compared to some of the other brawlers? Is that one that people should be trying to kind of aim of getting first?
Again, it's like really map dependent, but if you do like showdown or like maps with pushes on it, I'd highly recommend it. I'd put it as a top 5 star power.
Do you consider Bo's star power to be like a game changer in that sense?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's primarily for helping the team out because, as I said earlier, Bo's not the best killer, but he is really good at assisting teammates with kills. So naturally, if your opponent doesn't have vision and your teammate has vision, they have a huge advantage on them just because they know their movements, they can see where they are, what they have to do to like push them back or kill them, etc. So it's just a really big game changer in those 1v1 situations.
Awesome, bro, man. I think you covered absolutely everything, bro. Like, it's just really refreshing to speak to a player that's kind of like taken on board the challenge of a brawler, which would not be my first pick, as I'm sure it wouldn't be many people's first pick. So like I really praise you for doing what you've done, bro, and just setting like a great example to the community that like don't rule out brawlers, guys. I think that's like a really important thing to say, is like don't rule them out based on what the community say. It's all about kind of like applying yourself to learn the strengths and weaknesses, and then you can take it to a place like OG's done. So yeah, man, really praise you for your hard work, bro.
Yeah, thanks for all the kind words. I think just pick a brawler that you really like, or a few brawlers that you really like, and just get really good at them. That's my best advice for the game. It doesn't matter about the meta because that's always going to change. Just play what you enjoy.
Is there anyone that you want to shout out? Any players that you pushed with? I know you got like a YouTube channel and Twitch stuff. Give us a shout out, bro. What you got going on?
Yeah, definitely. So first off, definitely my teammates, Alec26, Jigsaw, Brozik, Gile, Albert CG. There are a few others, but those were the primary ones. As for my Twitch, it is OGaming95. My YouTube channel will be going up in the next few days. It's also OGaming95, and my Twitter is OGaming95.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. I'll leave all those links down in the description, guys. Make sure that you check them out. Subscribe, all that good stuff. OG, thank you so much for coming back on the channel, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Anytime, bro. You're welcome back. Anytime. Lastly, before you go, is there anything that you're trying to achieve next? Any goals? I only got to like 17k once. You're gonna go for 18 or 19 or anything crazy like that?
First off, I got to get back in the top 10, so I'll be there by the end of the season.
Any top brawler that you're gonna push next to 1,000 or?
I'm leaning towards Piper right now, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because you're a killer Brock, so Piper's like kind of like Brock on easy mode, right?
Yeah.
OG, it's been a pleasure, bro. Thanks so much for coming on the channel again, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Right, that's going to wrap up this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, head on down to the like button, grab it, smash it, and while you're at it, subscribe for more future content. Leave a comment down below letting us know what you thought of this video. But until next time, keep calm, game on, and most importantly, keep your brawls epic.